And now it's time for the work in progress of Into the White, which formerly was known as Comrade. You just changed the title, so in the program it's still as Comrade. And here with me I have the director, Peter Ness, and of course the producer, Peter Åberg Jensen. You had a masterclass here before. Did it go well?
Ask the audience.
Ask the audience.
Yeah. He was very pleased.
He was pleased.
I'm always pleased with
Good.
my own appearance. Yeah.
I guess these gentlemen are familiar to most of you in the audience. Åberg Jensen is a producer at Centropa, one of the founders, and you, for example, you executive produced the Oscar winner In a Better World, and produced most of Lars von Trier's films. And Peter Ness, you've done several feature films. I guess the most known are Tatartiden and Elling, which won the Fipresce Prize here at the festival, actually, in 2001, and was later Oscar nominated. Okay, maybe should we start with one of the clips, and then you tell us, or do you want to tell us a little bit about the film before?
I think we have to say something about the movie.
At least the setting.
Yeah, the setting. This is a Norwegian war movie, World War II movie, and I probably you've seen a few of them with Norwegian heroes, small men beating the hell out of the Germans, which very few of them did actually. But this is not a heroic movie about the Norwegian Vikings. It's based on a true story from the beginning of the invasion of Norway in April 27, 1940. There was a air battle between a German bomber and a British fighter plane. And they actually literally shot each other down. And they crash landed with a few kilometers away from each other, and for some strange reason they ended up seeking shelter in the same cabin. So they had just shot each other down, and then the Germans were there first, and then they hear some voices outside and they go out and they ask, "Who are you?" "We're British pilots. Our plane was shot down a few miles away from here." "And who might you be?" "We're German pilots. Our plane was shot down too." And then in real life, the Germans, they invited them into the cabin, and later in life, this German captain and the German lieutenant and the British captain, they met actually later in life and became friends. But we have kind of boosted the story a little bit, so we bring them into the wilderness and into bad weather and into this cabin where they have to struggle to survive. And they start to argue right away about who should sleep where. And it ends up that the Germans take the Brits as prisoners of war. And the first scene you're going to see is when that has just taken place. So there's been made some TV things about this, and an interview with the British captain, and he was interviewed right outside this real cabin, and he said, "There were some Germans there, and we met outside this cabin, and we shook hands in the best continental fashion." Well, they did actually, but then when they come into the cabin, they start arguing about who should sleep where, and then finally the Germans pull their guns, and this is just after that has happened.
Okay.
Now we can see the clip.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was the end of the yeah. So yeah, I think that's the kind of the setup for the conflict, and it's actually a story where the antagonist is a growing friendship. It's all about trying to maintain the enmity, trying not to become friends. So it's like a love story, a romantic comedy. Like we know that when Harry meets Sally in the beginning, we know that we'll come together in the end.
It's a romantic.
Yeah, but it's a process that's interesting, and the ending is a little bit different from a romantic movement.
Well, I guess everyone recognized Rupert Grint, who plays Ron in the Harry Potter movies, and then it was David Cross from The Reader.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about the casting of the actors?
No, you should do that, Peter, because you have casted them.
Yeah.
I paid for them.
Okay. You tell us later how much you got paid. I wanted to. This is an ensemble piece. It's 5 men in a cabin, trying not to be friends, and they have to be different, at the same time belonging there. So it's. I was looking for a kind of fiery British streetwise guy, and I have an agent in America, and he tipped me, what about Rupert Grint? Because I think Rupert Grint was in the same agency, and we asked him, and he said yes, and he was perfect for the part. He's learned himself to speak Liverpool dialect accent. And not even the other British guy understands what he's saying, so he has to translate for the Germans. And at one point, he doesn't even understand what Rupert says, or this Robert Smith says. So excuse me, could you say that again, please? Well, that was Rupert, and then we were looking for German actors, and we used casting agents, and of course I had seen The Reader, and David Cross is. I was starstruck after having seen that, and we were lucky to get him. And Florian Lucas, who plays the main character, Horst Schopis.
The German guy.
The German guy, and Horst Schopis was the real captain, and unfortunately he died just 2 months ago. He was 5 days before he turned 99 years old. So we was hoping for him to be to the premiere of this movie in his 100th year. And he was so proud, and I met him a couple of times in what's it called? The country? Germany? Yes. and also Florian met him, and he came to Norway for the press conference. This old Horst Schopis in a hangar where they had this old Henkel 111 that he was flying at that time, and we had a whole press conference around that area. It sounds a little bit romantic about this horrible war, but it was a very emotional moment, and a very important moment for the actor to meet the real guy. And then I wanted to use a Norwegian actor as well. Stig-Henrik Hoffy plays the big silent guy, the big brutal, seems to be a brutal Nazi guy, which has a warm heart in the end. And I wanted some great international actors to meet a great Norwegian actor, and he speaks German fairly well and all that. So yeah, then Lachlan Nibor, who plays this Captain Davenport. I also auditioned him in London. So when I felt that this is a good cast, they're different, and they go very well together, and because it's 5 men in a cabin.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's they have
cabin
to be
play.
Yeah, cabin play. But it's there's a lot of exterior scenes and all that. But most of the scenes you'll see now will be interior, where the drama really takes place. But it's in wild and crazy and dangerous and beautiful surroundings in this country called Norway.
Mm. Should we look at another clip?
Yes, this is. You saw the toilet paper here, and they run out of papers and toilet paper, and they start to argue more and more. And the situation with this fiery guy that Rupert Grint plays, he's constantly nagging this guy that David Cross plays, because he's a real Nazi. He reads Mein Kampf all the time to comfort himself and feel safe, and Hitler has something to say about everything that goes on. And this is the sacred Bible, and at one point they don't have any more newspaper or toilet paper, and when Rupert Grint goes to the toilet, he finds Mein Kampf. It's of course way too dark, and there's no color grading, or the sound is not there, so it's yeah, work in progress, actually.
There was a very dramatic turn of events.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said it's not color graded and everything. Where in the process are you now?
Yeah, right now we finished editing. We are in the middle of the sound post-production, no image made and no music added. So the film should be opening in Norway in the beginning of March. So yeah, we are there, and happy to screen a little bit here also. It's a quite funny film. It's a quite touching film, and very little as we normally see the Second World War type of movies. And we have actually right now managed to pre-sell it to quite a lot of countries. It helps with this great cast, of course, but it also helped that we have the best director in Norway then coming to present something quite different to an international audience. And back to the actors, it's really impressive. To see how good talent we can attach to the Scandinavian movies right now, and this is due to the fact that Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish directors are doing so extremely well. So it's actually adding something on the curriculum vitae for the actors to participate in the Scandinavian films, which makes it affordable for us to have these good names on our cast list. So we should be, all of us, very proud of any type of acknowledgement that any Scandinavian director is getting, because that's helping all of us.
And this is a very recent thing.
It is very recent, and I think that's probably only the beginning we have seen right now of Scandinavian, primarily Scandinavian directors being so successful that we can get big stars playing for no money on small scale Scandinavian budgets.
I wanted to ask a production related question of you. This is produced by Centropa International Norge, and as far as I saw in the material, it's the first feature that is being produced with this production arm of Centropa. Could you tell us a little bit maybe about that? Why? Because you've also started a branch here in Sweden, and what is going on now?
Yeah, but
will you take over everywhere?
We want to conquer the world. Yes. No. We think it's quite interesting to work with talent, and actually, I'm not interested in nationalism, and I'm not interested in specific languages or specific countries. The talent is international, and I think we should think international. So my company Centropa has for quite many years been present in Germany, France, and but recently we opened up in Poland and in Spain also, and then we said, why not Sweden and Norway? These are small autonomous units we have around, and they can choose to participate or not to participate on one of our films. On this specific film here, Into the Wild, we have our German outlet is getting German money. We had quite substantial amounts from German funding bodies here. And on some of our bigger budget movies, we maybe have 5-6 Centropa companies collaborating together to get money from their local sources, and then join forces on mega big films. And in between that, any of our outlets here are making their own local films in their local language. But the talent is internationally, and the director should as easily work in his own language or some other language. And here definitely Peter, who I think is the best Norwegian director, had proved also that he's able to cross the border and work in both English and German also, and it's practically easy to direct in German also. Yes. Because come on, it is the faces, it's the diction, and
it's much easier when you don't understand what they say.
Yeah, it's much easier to have opinions on the acting if you don't understand what they say. No, so I shouldn't be afraid of that. I've seen Lucas Moulson direct 2 kiddies that only spoke Russian in Lilia Forever. and with an interpreter in between, work quite fine. So don't be afraid as a director of any language.
I made a Kurdish movie here in Sweden some years ago called Hoppet. With Kurdish people, I didn't understand one word of what they said, but I had read the script, so I knew what they were talking about.
And the film's great.
So I was actually, that brings up a very small and detailed question, but how is this going to be? Is it going to be subtitled only the German parts in English speaking?
I don't know.
In the German release?
No, just like in the English version of the film.
I think in the English version they will subtitle the Germans, and the Norwegian version they will subtitle everything.
Yeah, of course.
And
the German,
it's kind of funny because you should subtitle the Liverpool.
And what they do in Montenegro, I don't know. This is towards the end of the movie, and as we see, it's for the first time the Norwegians are the bad guys. Actually, I wanted to portray the British and the Germans as on the same level as human beings who meet each other, and the prejudice towards each other is being put to a test, and they gradually learn that they are human beings, and then for once the Norwegians become the outer threat as this friendship starts to emerge. The Norwegians know where they are, and as the weather clears up, they go there to get them. So that's a fairly rare thing in a Norwegian World War II movie, that the Norwegians are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they're not the bad guys, but they are the outer threat, actually, except from the weather, of course, and all that.
We do have time for one or two questions if there's someone in the darkness over there.
We'd like to know where it was shot exteriorly and interiorly.
It was the exterior was shot almost at the actual place where the planes crashed. At Grotli, Strynefjellet. Familiar place.
Interiors?
In the freezer in Trollhättan. So everything, when you open the door, it's fake snow coming in, and everything is in some cool storage place out on the countryside outside Trollhättan, and it was colder there than in the mountains. Actually, it was freezing. It was really a bad place, horrible place, but it looks good in the movie, and it works. And they have to cool it down so they get this breath and everything, so it looks real.
What's the budget of the film?
There were two budgets.
We're working on it.
Yeah, one before and one after. But shooting in the mountains in snow. That's that's something we Danes have to learn. That's for sure.
Or never do again.
Or never do again. Jesus Christ. No. But the budget is for that type of movie pretty low. It's 23.6 million Norwegian crowns.
I'll tell you about the shooting in the Norwegian wilderness. And one day, the weather was so bad that some of the crew got lost on the set. It was a complete whiteout. You didn't see anything, and the wind and the snow were just going like that, so you just have to chuck yourself in. And if you walk 3 meters too far in that direction, and you were just lost. No one could see. But we Norwegians, we like that. We think it's cool. Yeah.
Working under extreme conditions.
And and some skiing scenes are shot on the parking lot in Trollhättan, and just up towards. So but it looks okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter and Petter.
Peter and Petter.